Introducing the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, hey, Ravens. We gon' ride out. Ravens, Ravens, hey, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, hey, Ravens. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White or rap for the beat, though. Hey, welcome back to the home of original sports perspective from our couch to yours. This is your host, Jermaine Lockett, your Couch Rider Raven. I'm riding solo tonight, so I'm going to rely on a lot of you for comments and questions, everything else. I know y'all saw the title. Look, we lost. It's off season. Relax. We're going to be all right. Bobby is where Bobby's supposed to be, and the Ravens are going to be just fine. So anyway, with that said, we're going to pass the collection plate. So please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. And like I said, we don't know when it's going down because of the fact that Wednesday night was supposed to be a normal night for this show, but because of church obligations, I don't know if y'all see the sign above my head. It says faith, family, friends, and football. Those are my mantras, and faith is a big piece of that. So I apologize for not being here for you. I had to go do my thing with the faith. So, but I'm glad to be here with you tonight. Let's see who we got in the room. So we got Abdi is here. And it says Baltimore Ravens are cheap. Yes, but you got to think about the deal. I mean, we'll get into that in just a second here. All right. Delicious. What's good, man? Yeah, we live on a Thursday. It seems like it's a pretty good time to show because y'all already here in the room. All right. So bless Brian saying Abdi spell right. Okay. I'm going to want a spell checker. All right. We have Grammarly class before this thing starts or something. No. I think as long as we can understand what you're saying, I'm good to go. I'm from Louisiana. I cannot spell. All right. So bless says, what's up, guys? Abdi say, yeah. And Frankie B, what's good? So, well, it's time for the Ravens to finally start talking to the. Yeah. That could be one of the options. That's what I'm talking about here today. So hurtful, Eric. That's just hurtful. All right. Delicious says, not gonna lie, I'm hurting, but let's give PQ and Malik Harrison some time. So y'all hitting it. Y'all are hitting it on the head already. Let me jump in here to get these banners started. I made them for a reason. All right. So we got the post-Wagner fail options. Yes, it was a fail, but you have to take a look at it. Take a look at it like this. The Rams just signed Wagner for a 5-year deal. It was up to $65 million. A 32-year-old linebacker to a 5-year deal. I told this to Cameron earlier, and I'm not hoping bad things, but you got to look at the shelf life once you hit your 30s. Once you hit your 30s, things start aching, your legs start to go. He is a high caliber player who might have 2 years left on a deal. The Rams going to be hurting in the long run. He may give some pretty solid production this year. But if Baltimore wanted to get in bed with this guy, they wouldn't have got in for probably 5 years. They would have got in there for 3 years. That's probably the smarter contract is what Baltimore would have came up with. To push him out to 5 years, unless those back 2 years were void years, then I don't see this deal as a possible thing. So the Rams, they made it happen. Baltimore probably had an appealing offer, and which is why they were at the table for so long. And I know, we don't want to talk about the nice little piece of the loss, but it was still a loss, regardless. And I know Ravens fans are a little hot right now, but just relax. Every single year we go through this. Who wins the free agency? Cleveland, right? Every year Cleveland wins the free agency, right? And how do they do during the regular season? They usually lose. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. Keep the faith. Baltimore, they'll have a plan, and they will succeed in the options that are available. So let's check it out. Let's see. Before we get there, just want to say shout out to you because we are at 1,061 subs. We made it, folks. And I appreciate each one of you who are here rocking with your boy. Let's see. So, like we talked about the Wagner signing, or at least that's what we're talking about right now. The Wagner signing, like I said, it hurt a lot of Ravens because they were all, I mean, it got people locking the grandmothers in bird cages, threatening not to let the grandparents out if Wagner doesn't get signed. I mean, there was rumors of Wagner actually liking or he was liking, they're following the Ravens flock page or following Lamar Jackson or something on Instagram. Basically, a whole bunch of hoopla, like a lot of smoke and mirrors and stuff. I didn't believe it. I'm like, look, it's not going to happen if it ain't going to happen. If it happens, it happens. I'm good either way. But I told you beforehand, there's other options out there. And we'll talk about those here in just a minute. Let me go pay some bills, read some of these comments, and then we'll get into it. Let's see. All right, Delicious says, can't blame Bobby Wagner and can't blame the Ravens. Nobody thought he was going to get those numbers in total. Yeah, I mean, this dude said he wanted 11 mil for 1 year. And, of course, the Rams was like, all right, we'll just roll out the credit card again and do something crazy. Let them. They had $8 million in cap space before the deal was done, so they had just a little bit more to make some things happen. But honestly, it just wasn't worth that type of deal right there. When you don't have that much shelf life left, you're going to be paying a guy who's not going to be in your roster for later on. The Rams are willing to take that hit. They're willing to pay that type of toll. The Ravens just aren't. That's just a difference in philosophy. But when it comes down to it, y'all go look at the last episode. I talked about it before. When it comes down to star power, the Ravens match up very well. And they don't spend half as much. Or they don't have as much on the credit card. All right, Frankie B says, EDC just believe the cap space is real. It is real. It is a real thing. It's just the thing about the cap is there are void years. And in these void years that the Rams are doing right now, if you look at the same situation, they have rolled over $100 million into void years, which means they're going to have players who are not on their roster eventually that they're paying dead money for. And that is going to hurt them significantly. Let's say next year, they may be negative $110 million and probably not able to sign their rookie class until they drop major players. You might see Mike Thomas, you might see Kamara drop off the roster next year. They're doing the formula wrong. The Rams are doing it in a way that, yes, they're putting everything into 1 year. The Saints are actually just paying repercussions because they did this so many daggone times. You don't want to get into that payday loan or credit card, we'll pay it later type of situation with dead cap because that's where you're seriously going to hurt. And that's why the cap is a significant thing. Bishotti said it in an interview. He's like, hey, this cap is real. Eric DaCosta has mentioned, like, hey, cap responsibility. You want to be responsible when it comes to the cap. You can't make all these crazy decisions out there. You can make a couple. There are times when you can go out there and pull out the credit card and know that, yeah, you're going to get hurt significantly, but that cannot be your entire philosophy to go sign an all-star team to try and win the Super Bowl that year because let's just say it doesn't work out because there's only one winner. There's only one winner, and it's probably not going to be the Rams. I'm sorry. Look, the Rams are a pretty solid team. But honestly, are they going back? I don't know. You just don't know. With all the power in the AFC, they may not win the whole thing because there's too much power in the AFC right now with all these different crazy teams. But like I said, we all 0-0 right now in the offseason. Everybody's still 0-0. No matter how much firepower they signed up, it is still 0-0. All right, so let's go here. Let's do some more comments. It says they go after Anthony Barr, Calvin Noy, or target Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, Harris, Mumba, or someone else. Okay. And Ray Lewis act like he want to play and come back. So, but Ray Lewis played till like he was 36, 37. I don't know if y'all saw that comment on Instagram. Dude said, should I pull a Brady? Brady, I think Ray probably about 46 right now. So I don't know. I don't know if he still got it, but you know how this guy's workout method is. I don't know if y'all seen him. He always, every day, gets up, rides a bicycle, still got six-pack abs, still looks amazing. Like he can still come out there and knock some people over. Pass coverage might be an issue with him, but it would be nice to see that type of leadership, at least on the sideline with us. So Ray was built different. He was definitely built different. 5 years for $50 million with potential to make $65 million is crazy for Wagner at his age. That's what I'm saying. Thank you, Delicious. That's what I'm saying. That deal did not make any sense. It look like it was a desperate team saying, please, anything. when we get into bidding wars, especially with the Rams, they have no sense of logic when it comes to making these deals. They'll pay whatever to get who they want because they're trying to go all in for that same year. The Ravens, like I said, we put revenge tour all over Twitter for a reason because we have the star power to be able to get these things done. People are making all these signings, but we're getting players back healthy that are going to be monsters for this team. All right, so let's move forward to option number 1. So free agency options. I went and looked up a little bit of tape and did some research on a couple of players, and I had looked up at least two options right now, but 3 other names I want to study, and maybe I'll do different videos on. But one of them he was regarded as the 2017 hardest hitting inside linebacker in the draft. He got drafted to Kansas City, and he went and got him a Super Bowl because he was with them for 3 years. But then he went to the Lions and kind of went to sleep, and the Giants kind of fell off the radar. He's a free agent right now, Reggie Ragland. So let me tell you about Ragland. These are the things that I've written based off of my notes. Reggie plays aggressive in zone coverage, but he knows when to pass off the player as he's going through. So he's a solid zone player. I don't know much about his man. I didn't get too much. He says sometimes focuses too much on one person in the zone. So it's a little back and forth. No, it's contradictory. There was some plays that he was doing the right thing as far as passing the player off, and then there were other times when he would just completely flip his hips, follow the person, and treat it like it was man coverage. He was on him like paint, but at the same time, you can't do that in zone. You can't turn a zone coverage into a man coverage because there's another person crossing across your zone, your responsibility, and when that fails, that could be really bad for the defense. So he was an effective blitzer. He's not really a run stuffer. Sometimes he gets caught in the trash. Run stuffing is not really his thing, and that's a problem in Baltimore if you're not really a run stuffer. But he's got good awareness, and he sniffs out screens. He's got smart use of the hands and feet, shooting the B gaps. He's a fun to watch on stunts. Like I said, he's a meh type of guy versus the run. But here's the thing: when it comes to people who are meh versus the run, from an eye perspective, it's usually because they're playing unselfish ball. He has an unselfish mentality on defense. He has good reads, decent gap responsibility. Lines up on the edge sometimes. He's very versatile. So if we were to go ahead and pick this guy up, I think he would fit well next to Pat Queen. Let Pat Queen get his shine on and him actually have that lane responsibility. So I think this will be a solid pickup for the Baltimore Ravens, and you could probably get him for cheap. I don't know about like LJ Fort cheap, but I am thinking, pretty cheap. And that's another option. LJ Fort, still out there. Let's pick this guy up. He has experience with the roster. He knows exactly what he's doing. Stop for a second just for a comment or two. All right. Ooh, okay, there's a few comments in here. Salary cap is like Play-Doh. You can stretch it all you want, but it falls apart at some point. Thank you so much. This is brilliant, man. You guys, I'm telling you. Bless Brian feels a certain way about Wagner as far as the Rams. And let's see. If he can stop screen plays on a regular, it would be a boom for the Ravens. Yes. The thing about the Ravens, it was mainly shown during that daggone Minnesota game. Ravens saw a screen pass, and they just didn't know what to do. And they just kind of ran in the opposite direction. Full on hit the panic button. It was like, oh, my gosh, is that a tackle? I have to make a tackle? The Lions game was another one of the examples of that. They just could not make tackles on the outside. Open space tackles was not their thing, not Pat Queen's thing at all at the time. He improved as the season went on, but from that point, I was just like, wow, this guy is really bad at making these open field tackles. So, yes, having Ragland there to sniff out and beat the screens, would love to see that. Let's go on to the next person I studied. Actually, let me finish off here with Ragland. So I put on there, let Pat Queen be aggressive, needs to be there to read and stay disciplined. As far as his stats, this guy's had 279 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. He's got 1 career interception. He's going into his 6th season. So you're looking at a guy who is an experienced veteran who can come in here and make some things happen. He has the championship ring already, so he's not really looking to be selfish. And when it comes to this play, I'm pretty sure he wants to be part of another championship and wants to have another one on. And this is a championship caliber team. He can help out with that. I'm looking forward to seeing this guy on the Ravens. Hopefully, Ravens can make something happen, pick him up. That's just one option. But like I said, regarded as one of the hardest hitters coming out of the 2017 draft. Want to see a little bit more at this level, but back then, we were really bragging, saying, hey, this is that guy coming out of Alabama. So, of course, Newsome would love this dude. All right, Delicious says, I'm glad he ain't do us like Zadarius, agree and suddenly change his mind. Yes, that's a great thing. We really appreciate him not backing out on the deal. That's just awesome. All right, so we have the next person for option was Quan Alexander. So this one, I'm gonna just start with the bad. The bad is his injury history. So his injury history was a hamstring injury in 2000, hamstring injury in 2017, ACL tear in 2018, pectoral tear in 2019, and then a bicep, an ankle sprain, and an Achilles tear in 2020. This guy could actually reach the field. I think he would be amazing because he sees it and then he shoots it. He's got good awareness. He's looking for the big hit all day long, just looking to knock somebody's block off. He's disciplined on the outside gap and has good responsibility both inside and out. He can play the wheel or the mic. He's got solid strafing skills in his zone. Sometimes people just don't have that discipline to keep those, keep their hips and actually be moving alongside with the coverage and staying disciplined and passing off that man. And then he, like I said, just straight up aggressive, extremely aggressive. If they can get this guy a sensu bean and just and get a good trainer, he would probably avoid some of these injuries and be an explosive player. I definitely would like to see this guy on the Ravens roster if he would stay healthy. But I don't know if Baltimore wants to take a chance on a guy who has an injury history that long and that significant. So that is one of the other options. So you got LJ Fort, who knows the system. You got Kenny Young, who was in the system and got traded. He's also a free agent out there, and you saw what he was able to do as far as just being explosive altogether. We'd love to see him there. And then there's Kevin Minter, who comes from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm pretty sure he was a will, but I think if you swap him over to Mike, I'd be curious to see how he does next to Pat Queen, because one of them has got to be disciplined enough to sit back, and I'd like to see what Kevin Minter's awareness is when it comes to coverage, when it comes to lane responsibility, lining up those defensive tackles, doing things that this guy right here used to do. I don't know if y'all see Ray over there, but yeah, I'd love to see what he can do that will reflect some of the skills that this guy has. All right, so like I said, Kevin Minter, Kenny Young, LJ Fort. There's a few others out there as well. Then there's, of course, the next option. So we went through option 2, free agency. Option 2, what's currently on the roster. So, of course, we have Christian Welch. People were talking about they want Christian Welch to get reps. I'm okay with that. Let it be open to competition. But I think the Lunch Break Hot Take brought up a good point today. They were on Twitter, and they actually had a great point. I hate to say actually, but they bring up good points all the time. But this one was a good one. They said, give Malik Harrison an opportunity to develop. So, of course, we've had Malik on the roster. He's played, a decent amount of time. He had 30 total games. I think he's at 11 games where he started. This is his third year. He's coming from Ohio State, when Ohio State's defense was pretty beast one year. And then he's had a total of 40 career tackles, 3 tackles for loss, but 0 interceptions and zero sacks. But they're talking about moving him to the outside. I'm like, I don't know. They mentioned outside. They mentioned inside. I prefer this guy on the inside because he can thump. Hang on a second. All right. So he's still developing. He's got good zone discipline. He struggles against tight ends and man. He's versatile. He switches between the wheel and the mic. And he also does some outside linebackers. So he does the pressures, and he's able to have good awareness when he's coming off the edge on the outside to recognize, all right, I need to make sure that I'm the back guy so nobody gets cut. Nobody cuts back on him, and is able to get to bounce to the outside. So he's good against those counters. And he can read pretty well. So he's a good tackler. He plays to the whistle. So, some players once they get caught up in the backfield, they usually give up on a play. This guy will come crashing out of the backfield to chase down a running back who's juking around, whatever, to make that hit. So I can appreciate that. He plays special teams, pretty decent on that. So I love him versus the run. I really do. And he doesn't shy away from contact. He doesn't stay blocked up very long. He stays there long enough to actually be disciplined, and then he sheds that block to be able to make the tackle. So I'm a big fan of him. And then I think that was the other option. So there, of course, there's Christian Welch. And then there's some other free agency options out there. I don't know if Bynes has been picked up or not, but I would be curious to see what he would look like back in this organization. So here we go. Let me go back here. Delicious says, wouldn't mind seeing Kenny Young. Yes, Kenny Young. Like I said, very explosive. I just think the only reason he was getting traded out is because we had a pretty full linebacker room at the time. And he just happened to be the odd man out. Of course, there's an opportunity to get, Marcus Peters, so you kind of just give them what they want when it came to getting Marcus. All right, so GMM Stretch. I don't know if I've seen you here before, but I am grateful you are here. I'm thankful for you coming through. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, and smack the bell. For those of y'all in the room, we got 9 people in the room. We get 9 likes on the daggone video, man. But GMN, I appreciate you for coming through. It says, looks like it's either LJ or Kenny. So I like both options. Matter of fact, bring them both into camp. It can't be too expensive to sign these guys. Let's get them for cheap. Let's get them on the roster. All right, Lakers fan 87. What's going on? So where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? You got me singing it here, man. We all emotional and stuff because everybody Ravens fans thinking we don't know what to do. Eric DeCosta has a plan. Y'all gotta trust. What they say, trust. Y'all got to trust. This dude got the plan. Trust me. But I'm just putting out options in here. CF wants to know who we're talking about. So I was talking recently about Malik Harrison. And I think, like I said, Malik against the Chiefs, I mean, when you're expected to cover one of the best tight ends in the league, you're going to struggle. And he did that in his first year. He struggled against Kelsey. And that's expected. This dude is the best tight end in football, or at least he was until Mark Andrews. That's another discussion, but I think Mark Andrews is in that top 3 tier tight ends. But, Kelsey is up there as one of the best in the league right now. And you're expecting Malik Harrison to come out here and do this? No, that's just higher expectations than normal. If he did it, great. But we know that it's just very hard to do. All right. So as we're still talking about options on the roster, let me go to some comments here. Like I said, CF, appreciate you coming through, man. Make sure you hit the like, bell, subscribe. So you felt like Harrison gave us something we was missing in the middle game. We played the Titans. He was putting it on Derrick Henry. Pause. Yes, that's exactly what we need Harrison for. He is a thumper, and he will make sure that guys like King Henry will not be there and be as effective. Now that we don't have Elliott on our team, we still need that thumper to be able to drop down and make sure they handle business before it gets to our safeties. And that is going to be Malik Harrison. Or at least I hope it is. And then CF says, who can cover Kelsey, though? That's a high bar. That is kind of where we're going to have to make some packages, make some special packages for the Kelsey situation. Honestly, I think Stevens will be a good cover for Kelsey, kind of like how we put Jimmy Smith in there. So Jimmy comes in and handles tight ends majority of the time. So, well, of course, if we miss out on Jimmy, then that's where we see things really they just happen pretty bad when it comes to the coverage. So I'd say pull down Stevens and have him cover cover their tight ends. And of course, if we pick up Kenny Young would be that guy who could cover tight ends. He has that speed where he can go sideline to sideline. Kenny was traded for having a disagreement with the front office, so I doubt the Ravens would bring him back. I think like Pierce had a disagreement with his weight and John Harbaugh, and guess who? He's still back here. You know what I'm saying? Like Harbaugh dismissed him for practice because the dude came in at 400 pounds. He wasn't taking care of his body. And honestly, from the looks of it, it still don't look like Pierce is taking care of his body the way he needs to. I think he's just good at playing at such a heavy weight. So that's a disagreement that the front office or that John Harbaugh has. And if you enter John Harbaugh's doghouse, you ain't getting out of it. And I think, Young was one of those people in John's doghouse as well. But, guess what? People can forgive. People can grow. And hopefully he grew while he was over there with the Rams. And we can benefit from it. So I would love to see Kenny Young back here making some explosive plays and actually getting on Harbaugh's good side. Let's see. Who are we running at safety? Clark and TJ. Clark and Williams. I think TJ is more of a backup because I think Williams, they paid him all that money. They ain't paying him all that money to be a rotational player. I think he's going to be out there the majority of the snaps. Clark will manage to find a way to put TJ back in there. And of course, the cerebral brain of Clark is going to keep him on the field because he has that green dot at the moment. So let's see. You said Williams. Totally forgot. Yeah, like I said, sometimes I have brain farts out of this world, or haven't done I hadn't done my homework or something. I'll be honest with you. A couple of times I haven't. So good thing Cam Rue is usually the guy who saves me. But tonight you guys get to save me in these situations. So we are still talking about option 2, what is currently on the roster. So we talked about Welch. We talked about Harrison. Let's move forward to see what option 3 was. So this is going to be more one of those efficient shows. We're not going to go 2 hours, but I think we'll do okay tonight. Option 3 is the draft, the NFL draft. So, of course, ideally, what I would hope it to happen is Baltimore, whatever they pick in the first round, great. My five options that I would hope that Baltimore would pick when it comes to 14 is, of course, number 1 for me. I'm crazy about the Kool-Aid man. I love some Jordan Davis. Want some Jordan Davis like crazy. Tyler Linderbaum, number 2, because I feel like that shores up our options at center, and then it really helps solidify the rest of the line, makes it a little bit more competitive going into camp, because then you have Cleveland facing off against McCarry, and even putting in Linderbaum in that mix, and we'll figure out how that left guard and center role actually plays out, because all the other positions are solidified with Zeitler, who I did watch some tape on today, and it did look shaky against the Lions. And then we have on the right tackle Moses, left tackle, hopefully, if he's healthy, will be Stanley. So those would be the options there if we picked up Tyler Linderbaum. So anyway, draft options as far as first round, I'm thinking either Davis or Linderbaum will be my top 2. Jermaine Johnson, McDuffie, and I can't remember who the third one was. Oh, if Hamilton happened to slide, that'd be pretty sweet too. So those are my first round options that I would like to have. Second round, of course, I'm hoping everything falls into place, and hopefully you saw my Twitter, because I've definitely put this out there. Christian Harris. Christian Harris, this guy is something phenomenal, and I really was just blown away when I look at the tape of this guy. All he wants to do is blow stuff up. I think I put some notes on him recently. Try to look him up real quick. From when I did my homework that day. Nope. Okay. So this guy, he was, like I said, just a full-on athlete. It's going to be a great transition for him to come in. Yes, he plays well, but I would love to see him play the mic and sit next to Queen and do his thing. So his weakness, sometimes he gets caught looking into the backfield. Pursuit angles, sometimes he takes some bad pursuit angles, but this is one of those guys who just shoots it and goes, whether he's right or wrong. But sometimes you need those guys to take those chances. But like I said, you can't have both at the wheel and the mic. One of them needs to sit back. So hopefully, if we picked him up, teach him a couple of things about being the mic linebacker versus the wheel, would be exciting to have this guy. He's just an explosive player, be a great addition to this defense that already just knows how to ball hard. All right, so what other comment here? So I'm hoping for pass rusher or corner, Jermaine Johnson or George Karlaftis. Stingley at corner, I don't think Sauce will be there. I don't really think Stingley's going to be there either. But people have made pretty bad decisions in the top 10. And, Al Davis was one of the ones who made some of the worst decisions whenever he was at the top 10, because all this dude was he would just bring a stopwatch to the draft, or excuse me, to the combine, and then the top guy, next thing you know, he's drafting DHB, Darius Hayward-Bay, over Crabtree, and it baffled me. So some of these guys are doing that nowadays as well. They just don't have that common sense when it comes to looking at the full talent of an individual, instead of just looking at the stopwatch where people make their money at the combine, which is great. But let's see what else they got as far as skills. All right. Let's see. Ashanti Mende, welcome. I think you're new here. And make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe, smack that bell. We love y'all coming through. Usually I do shows on Mondays and Wednesdays. But, like I said, it was a faith-based decision. That's kind of how I lead my life. And we went to church. So we had a good time. But I'm glad to be here with you tonight. Cameron has a martial arts class, so he is not here tonight. I'm telling his business. He'll probably tell me out later. But, he's already getting his physical fitness in and training his mind as well. So I'm proud of him. Let him keep working. Ravens front seven weak is the comment that she has mentioned. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a few people come for you in the comments here, but the front seven, it needs some work. It does. It does. So of course, if we got Wolf coming back from injury, that's not necessarily something that we're going to count on, even though he's counting on that money because it's guaranteed. And then you have Malik BK. So Malik BK is a strength to that line. When it comes to our linebackers, as far as the inside linebackers, Pat Queen, I consider him more of a strength. When it comes to some of our backups, yes, there could be some holes that we filled. Excuse me. Ooh, all right, so yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, with Calais Campbell, if he doesn't come back, then yes, we need to go ahead and fill that line in the draft, and that's why I say we need to go after uh, uh, Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis would definitely help bolster what we have on that line. With G.R. Ward, not necessarily he not signing with us, that hurt us as well. I was looking forward to getting more options there on the defensive line. So it's a little bit weak. But as far as our outside linebackers, I think we are decent there. As far as the two starters, with Bowser, coming back off an injury, hopefully he comes back in time for the season. I know it's going to be a rough rehab, but hopefully he does get back. And then you have Owe. So I think Owe in year two, dude's going to be beast, especially with this new defense coordinator McDonald. I think he's going to come back and with the vengeance and completely wreck this league with that type of speed coming off of that. It's not just the 4.3. I mean, it's the short distance speed and his ability just to maneuver, pass, and destroy games. Like I said, I go back to that Chiefs game. He was disruptive all over the place. So to see him in year two, see him develop, especially with these coaches, I would love to see them pick up maybe in a Jabo, have him sitting on the other side, or maybe Bowser comes back healthy, or even people keep talking about this Dalen Hayes guy. Dalen is straight. I just want to see more. I want to see more. I want to see everybody else is talking about why they are so excited about this fifth round player to come in and have an immediate impact for the Baltimore Ravens. So draft or Dalen Hayes. Somehow this line needs to definitely get stronger, and the edge needs to get stronger as well. So when it came down to it, in both of the interviews, so Bisciotti said there's no real need as far as the offense, and I think maybe he was talking about skills position players, but he wasn't specific. But he did say that he was interested in edge, cornerback, and defensive line. And then Eric DeCosta said, offensive line, defensive line, corner, and edge. This is the type of draft that they're kind of looking into those. And there's a possibility of maybe bringing in a wide receiver. So you get just something to think about when the Ravens get on the clock. That offensive line, defensive line, corner, and edge are probably going to be the priorities. If you see a wide receiver come off, it would really shock me in the first round. I know a lot of people want that wide receiver. They want their Garrett Wilson. I just don't see it happening. Anywho, let's move forward here. Frankie B says, yes, that Bama linebacker is low-key really good. I hope he falls to us either in the third round. I don't think he's coming down to the third round. There are other guys who could fall to the third round, like a Brian Asamoah. I mean, but he's a little undersized. He's 6 feet, 225 pounds. He runs a 4.5, so he's pretty fast. He's got active feet, but tackle radius is not ideal. Let's see. You have Devin Lloyd's definitely not going to fall. There is a guy named Leo Chanel. I want to do some more watching tape on this guy. They say he's built like a brick house. Let's see. There was a Micah McFadden. He's decent, prototypical. They're projecting him for the fifth round. I'll do some tape on there, some more tape study on that guy there, and a few others. So let's see. Frankie, what's going on? Prefer Chad to be there in a second. Chad, help me out. I'll do some homework. Chad. You talking about, you mean Channing? Oh, Chad Muma. Chad Muma, right? From Wyoming. 6'3", 230 pounds. Yeah, that's ideal. Prototypical. Let's see. He's aggressive, high speed, as far as info processing. So good awareness. I like that. What else is there? He's a try-hard blitzer. Okay. I like that. I mean, effort. That's what we need there. Effort will teach the technique later. Okay. So we have like Davis or Linderbaum mid-round. I want Davis at 14. Linderbaum, if we could trade back maybe a couple slots and get Linderbaum, cool. But personally, here's my philosophy. As long as you get your guy, you got your guy. Doesn't matter where you got him at. It doesn't matter. Let's say let's say for the first overall pick, let's say a team comes out and they want Garrett Wilson. They see Garrett Wilson as their guy. Is a reach. If they feel like that's the one that they want, if that's what they really need at that particular moment, okay. And I know I'm probably going to catch some flack on this in a couple of minutes here on Twitter because y'all know how I feel about not drafting a wide receiver. But if Baltimore feels that they need a wide receiver in the first round for some crazy reason, guess what? I am not going to be taking these things off the wall and switching teams. And I'm still riding with my boys, man. It's their philosophy. They felt like it was their guy, and they felt like that's what they wanted it. I'm with them. All right. So corner or pass rushers, Shanti says. What's going on, Shanti? Davis will be great. Yes, absolutely. Davis will be. I'm telling you, we get Davis first round. I'll be excited. I'll be pumped up. I'll probably be doing cartwheels all over the living room or something, or around the game room if I can find the room. Something. I'm gonna do something that's gonna be wild because I'm gonna be too pumped up because Davis is a game wrecker, a full-on game wrecker. Like I said, disruptive. He's gonna be disrupting pockets like crazy. Imagine Brady trying to sit there and establish his pocket when he's got Davis on the other side, ready to punch to that center, and I don't care if it is Jensen, he will give him some problems. All right. Also, the inside linebacker from Penn State was also pretty good. He'll be there in the fourth. Yes, I do think going back to the Penn State well would be fun because Brandon Smith is the prototypical linebacker, 6'3", 240 pounds. Oh yeah, explosive athlete who can flip his hips pretty well. He explodes out of his cuts. So I want to see somebody like that. Athleticism and size are things that have to be just kind of, you got to be born with it. And it's kind of hard to teach it. You can teach them technique, but when it comes to athleticism, when it comes to size, those are two things you just cannot teach. All right, so I appreciate your comment, Frankie. Delicious. So there ain't nothing wrong with it. Yeah. So like I said, with their philosophy, let's just keep rocking and supporting them. Let's see. CF says Trey McBride or Isaiah Likely for tight end. Ravens have been missing that double tight end attack. So there's somebody that Lamar Jackson is pretty high on as far as tight ends go. It's a Maryland guy. Let me see if I've got my notes over here. And I did some study on tight ends a little while back. He had a really, really odd name. Let's see. Y'all might, if you know what I'm talking about, please help me out in the comments. But it was a really odd name as far as tight end, and he was coming out of Maryland. So I was high on Greg Dolchik and a couple others. I know y'all like Likely, but this dude had a really weird name, and I'm still trying to look through and find who he is. I have to go check my Twitter. Oh yeah, I know KTSC would know. So we can get to Travis Jones in the second round. Okay. Let's see here. Ferguson needs to step up and stop being a bust. So Ferguson going to be hitting them streets. I'm going to be honest with you. Ferguson about to hit the Albertson shopping line, going to be a bagging groceries and stuff because he just ain't it. I know Cam is like, oh, he's out of position, but look, Matt Elam was out of position. And yeah, he was supposed to shine. He was expected to do certain things, and he just did not. And Ferguson did not either. It's just time for him to roll. He ain't doing nothing but taking up a spot right now. And he's also taking up how much cap space? He's taking up $965,000 in cap space. So I say, hey, cut the gas, save some space for whatever we plan on signing in the future. Yes, Chad Muma. Yep, definitely like that one. All right, so nobody's taken a wide receiver number one overall since this is in 1996. Okay. Yeah, was it who was it? The guy who wrote the book, Give Me the Damn Ball? Keyshawn? Was it Keyshawn taking number one overall? I can't remember. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, you have people that are crazy. Like this year, you've seen an entire free agency model get flipped on its head because the team who took chances went out and won a Super Bowl and then now everybody thinks that taking these chances, going absolutely bonkers in free agency, spending all this cash is going to be the model to get you a championship. Well, the New England Patriots, they showed that last year that spending $121 million in free agency, it ain't it. It's not going to get you the ship. It doesn't get you there. It's not the ticket. You build these pieces, you trade for these pieces, and it's a combination. You can't just go out there and throw money at your problems and expect to win the whole thing. So, yeah, but like I said, to your point, I don't think anybody's going to draft a wide receiver number 1 overall. But if they wanted to go crazy and they thought Garrett Wilson was this next Jamar Chase type of guy, then maybe they go after him. I mean, I'm surprised, someone didn't take a chance last year and say, hey, Jamar Chase is that dude. I hate this word, but everybody's been spewing it all over the place. Generational talent, blah, blah, blah. But he is an exceptional talent who is going to rock this league for a couple of years. So I think with Jamar Chase, like we had to redraft all over again. There's no question this guy could go number 1. Anyway. So, Big Reg, what's good, man? He's I love how everybody's still only talking defense. Defense no longer wins championships. I think it's the balance. You got to have the balance. You cannot sit there and say the defense would win championships. Defense, needs to be there to win games. We saw that when the Ravens faced off against the Cincinnati Bengals, and we did not have a defense out there. If you don't want to pay your defensive players, get ready because you're about to get rocked. We saw Burrow came out there and set a franchise record against us with 500 some passing yards because we got guys off the streets because we didn't have the people there reserved. We didn't pay the defense. We didn't take care of the defense. I know there's other people talking about defund the defense, whatever. No, you got to pay these guys too. It's a balance. Yes, we need wide receivers. Yes, we need the offensive line. Yes, we need healthy running backs. Yes, we need a quarterback who's going to stay healthy and actually ball out, not hold on the ball a little bit too long, whatever, and work on his skills, which he's doing right now. He is working on those skills during the offseason after he's done with this birthday bash weekend. So, but you still need a defense to come in and win, to win games that lead up to winning a championship. And if you look at the Patriots' philosophy, even with Brady rocking out doing his thing, when they beat the Rams, it was because they had defense. They had stellar defense, and they shut a team down. It was supposed to be one of the most explosive sites on turf, explosive games on turf, and they had a pretty good magical offensive showing, and they couldn't score but 3 points in a Super Bowl. Defense can win a championship. It's just you gotta have a good balance. All right, here we are. So we're solid wide receiver. You have to let the young bulls play. Amen, brother. Amen. Yes, sir. Right here. You my guy. So when it comes to wide receivers, yes, we are set at wide receiver right now. It is not a problem at wide receiver. Should we pick up one later on in the draft to just come in and compete? Sure. I'm fine with that, but like I said, I think it should probably be like Wan'Dale Robinson or one of these small, twitchier guys to come in and compete for the slot. If we believe so much in Prochet, we shouldn't have a problem with somebody coming in a little bit later who's actually allowing him to compete. Because if we draft somebody in the first round, there's not going to be much of a competition. There's going to be expectations that wide receiver kind of gets those starting reps. So I just don't think it's going to help the team at all, especially when we have other significant needs that need to be taken care of. Wide receiver is not a significant need to be taken care of. All right. So here D3 says, what's going on? First of all, we should trade 3 picks for Robert Quinn. I mean, it's chancy. I don't know. I mean, it's something I look into, but that's not how Baltimore does business. I know how, so we have. I've been listening to these Twitter spaces. I've been listening to the Twitter feed itself and Facebook and all that. We have what we want to do, and then we have, based off of history, what the Ravens actually do. It's 2 different worlds. It is totally 2 different worlds because we got people who want a first-round wide receiver, and they want so many other different things to happen. They want John Harbaugh fired. They want Giro gone. They want all of these different things to happen. And then, of course, there's reality that sets in and recognizes that, okay, we need to make sound decisions based on the cap and the offseason. We have to make sound decisions when it comes to our coaching staff and recognizing it is not just one person's fault. We have to make sound decisions based off of some need and best player available in the draft and not go making crazy out of this world decisions. But I feel those ones who, let me pause. I understand those folks who want all of these different things. It's flashy for years. I've always wanted crazy wide receiver to come to the Ravens and completely blow it up with Joe Flacco. I was one of those ones who wanted Calvin Ridley pre-gambling. The year Lamar Jackson was drafted, I wanted Calvin Ridley to come to the Ravens, and there was an opportunity to get there to get him, and we traded back. And then the Cowboys wanted him. And I saw people crying in that stadium that night when they did not get Calvin Ridley because that was the Dez gone year. Anyway, but I was crazy about wide receivers back then. I wanted Dez Bryant to come to the Ravens, and before he was kind of washed up and not in his system right now. But I wanted him to come to the Ravens as a first-round pick, and it just didn't happen. The Ravens have a different philosophy. We're just trying to trust in what they're doing right now. I know we want them to do different things, but let's just focus on what they currently are doing. Try to support them. I'm not a gatekeeper, but I am trying to keep it real when it comes to what's possible and what isn't. All right. So Delicious says, not going to lie, if we got Drake London in the first, I'm not mad at all, even though it's not a need. And I probably, like I said, if it happened, I ain't changing colors. I'm not dragging anything off the wall. I'll be with the Ravens, ride or die. All right. Big Reg, the Rams defense won them the Super Bowl, bro. Facts. I'm going to keep going on for like arguing Reg tonight. You go ahead and take that battle on KTSC. All right, so CF says, Reg, I beg to differ. The Rams defense definitely took them and won them. Chiefs O-line gets killed by most D-lines. Defense is still key. Thank you so much for bringing this up because, like I said, some people, all they see is what we aren't doing on offense because we don't look like everybody else's offense. So when you look at the stats, outside of this year, Ravens are still top 10. They were number 1 in 2019 in scoring and number 7 in 2020 in scoring. So you got to recognize that Ravens get it done. They do the scoring. They score in the first quarter, but they strike first outside of last year. They do the scoring. It's just how it's done is differently. You want a high-powered offense as far as high-flying skills, wide receivers, or would you like to have possession of the ball, play keep away, outscore your defense, outscore their defense, have possession of the time of clock over 37 minutes, and win the game in a manner that's not the same as everybody else? Because everybody else can game plan these folks that pass the ball all day long. But can you really game plan somebody who is going to run a different type of offense? It's a little bit harder to game plan week to week when you got somebody who does something different than everybody else in the league does. So, and I know some people are starting to catch on, but I love the philosophy of the Ravens. I've always loved the ground and pound and have solid defense, and that's just kind of the philosophy. That's why John Harbaugh still has a job. All right, here we go. So Justin says, just went to look at that LM from Wisconsin, Leo 5. He's a monster. Let me take a look, man. Let me take a look. I'll do it later. But yes, maybe some homework. Let me write that down. My pen. Y'all see my pen? All right. So you said Leo from Wisconsin. I'll do a little bit more homework because I love it when y'all give me some homework and I get a couple of videos I can go back and watch some tape by tape on, get excited about. So let's see. KTSC says, we still have Josh Oliver. Yes, Josh Oliver, we paid a draft pick for him. That he has potential. I'd like to see what he has to offer, but at the same time, bring some competition. He's got plenty of it back there. There's a lot of tight ends that are going to be getting brought into camp already, the same guys from last year. And there was one that's like 6'7", who still needs a shot, still needs an opportunity. But I'm telling you, if we get that dude from Maryland, like I said, the one that Lamar Jackson is all pumped up about, maybe, having Mandrews and having that guy, it could be a pretty beast combination right there. Here we go. Shanti says, we need to also go cornerback in the third round. We only have 2 cornerbacks. So we have some coming off of, they're hurt. They're no doubt. They are extremely hurt. Let me go to my corners real quick. I got information on corners as well. So I still think this dude, his name is Duck Storm. Or Storm Duck, coming from North Carolina. Watched the tape on him. It leaped off the tape. I don't know why nobody's talking about him. I think he's an exceptional player. And if I can pull up my notes, I'll tell you a lot about him. And then there's McCrary, who could fall to the second round, I believe. Storm Duck, 6 feet, 195 pounds. we're looking for that corner who can be that slot guy. He's got ball skills. He's good with mirroring. He's physical, good field awareness. He's a blue collar type of guy, and that's what John Harbaugh likes is the blue collar guys. He could get Moss by bigger receivers. That's why I say it'd be great if we stuck him in nickel. The speed is not great. It's not fantastic speed, and he gets a little handsy at times. But we're hoping that they'll work on that with the technique here. But he had 9 pass breakups and 2 interceptions, and that was in his time frame at North Carolina. Next here's another one, Mikhail Wright. This dude was 5'11", 182 pounds out of Oregon. Like I said, we're still looking at that guy who's not necessarily over towering, but somebody sticking a nickel. He's strong. He jumps routes to attack the ball, has some burst, had 11 pass breakups. So I'm not going to go down the list, but those are just guys that are good options later on. Let's see. And then, of course, my bad, let me go back. What's currently on the roster? So if Iman Marshall, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, he comes back healthy, that's a pretty good option to have. And then we got those guys who got burnt up against the Bengals. Oliver, I think it was one was Oliver or Tolliver, and it was a Kevon Seymour, and then a Robert Jackson. So maybe those guys, they're all blazing fast from what I could tell, but they still need to work on their technique. Maybe they looked at this as a learning opportunity. They got the in-game experience, and maybe they learned something. Maybe they come back into camp. Maybe they show up big. I mean, we've had people that failed before and come back pretty big, right? We've had the Rondos of the NFL come through. All right, here it is. Big Reg is arguing back and forth about blah, blah. Moving on. About wide receivers. Pretty much, and he's talking about how offense wins championships. So you have to have the balance, Reg. You got to have the balance. Delicious says, no red. Yeah. So y'all still going about it. All right, so let's move down just a little bit. Let's see. 23-20 isn't really explosive for a top-tier team. I think you're talking about the continuation of that argument. All I'm going to say is the Bills had the number 1 defense in football. They did. And then it seemed like that defense just completely set down towards the end of the game because both defenses, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bills, during that game, just decided to just not handle business and not guard the middle of the field. That's a discipline, it's a technique thing. And, Baltimore's had the number 1 defense before, and they've held Peyton to no touchdowns in 2006. I remember that I went and watched that game the other day. It was pretty fun to watch. They gave him all types of heck, and that field goal kicker is the reason they won that game. But Peyton wouldn't have won it. The offense did not win that game. It was the special teams that won that game. So keep that in mind as well. Yeah, balance is key. That's exactly what I'm talking about here. Yeah, I got a lot of comments. Ooh, I might have to start highlighting some of these. All right, so the Bills D on paper are good, but on field they sucked. They had an easy schedule and only won 11 games. So when it comes to number 1 defenses, like with the Ravens, sometimes like we had those number 1 defenses, but it was because we had a quarterback that probably put us in bad field position because when they went to go punt, it was a shorter field for them to go for the offense to work on. And so it looked like the Ravens had this amazing number 1 defense when really they just had a shorter field to defend because the offense, their offense didn't have to go all the way down the field to get a touchdown. All right. So, Ellie, what's going on? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. But welcome. Only get it if Davis is gone, all the top edges are gone, Lloyd, all the top 4 cornerbacks are gone, and all the top tight ends gone. Then I'll be okay with Garrett or Linderbaum. I like your philosophy, man. We besties. You're on my Christmas list. Yes. No wide receiver in the first round. This is not where you need to hit it. You're not going to hit that here. We're not going wide receiver first round here. Nope. Sorry, sir. It's not going to happen. But if it does, but like I said, if it does, I'm not falling off, not running off somewhere. Let's see. Shanti says, people play too much Madden. Yes. And they think that's how you build a real NFL football team. When they find out that you actually need players in the trenches, then that's when they're going to be hurting when they see our guy sitting on his back because we didn't go after line. Or, that we can't actually stop the run because we don't have a true defensive tackle or nose tackle there handling business. Just saying. Even though Matabike is a pretty good option. Like I said, I cannot wait to see somebody go next to him. Like Davis and Matabike together would be extremely explosive. But I know we can't get Linderbaum and Davis at the same time. So it's going to be one or the other. So the offense is either going to be beefed or the defensive line is going to be beefed, because those are the two that I'm banking in on. I really think that those are the two that we're going to draft. Either that or Jermaine Johnson, which helps the edge, but I just really think the dire need is center or defensive line. Let's see. Big Red says, I said a million times, you need offense and defense. That does just enough. So you still leaning towards offense. I mean, we get it, man. We get it. Adi says, Brandon Smith, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison would be one of the most athletic group of linebackers. So I don't know if Brandon Smith. Okay, yeah, sorry. Draft. So it would also be one of the more boom or bust linebacker groups. So you got to have somebody sitting back, and I think that would be Malik. Malik would be the one who had to practice that awareness. The other two can just go shoot and have fun. All right. So yes, Delicious saying we got to have a complete team. You got to have a complete team. You can't just sit there and play Madden and trade everything out and hope for the best just by going to go get all skills position players. So Buccaneers defense was great. Look what they did to Mahomes. They gave him heck. Now they had some refs help. They did have a lot of the refs help in the first half, but in that second half, they really got after it and got Mahomes just in a full on panic mode. He was throwing accurate balls, but it was from basically almost on his back and doing all types of twirls and whatnot. So crazy. So Big Reg says, y'all really believe we are set at wide receiver? Yes. Yes. For the millionth time, we are set at wide receiver right now. It is not a major issue. Am I saying do we have the best wide receiver core in the league? No. But I am saying the guys that we have here are serviceable for what we do with our scheme. For what we do with this scheme, with Greg Roman in-house, these wide receivers can succeed in this system. Do we need to go out and grab a Devontae Adams-esque player? There is not one out there. There's not one. Garrett Wilson is not one. He's not a Jamar Chase. He is not any. I'm telling you, Drake London is going to be a good receiver, but he is not any of those exceptional, out-of-this-world talents that's going to change the face of the way the Ravens run their offense, because they're going to stick to what they know, and that's the RPO. And I know a lot of people are getting a little hot about it because they're saying Lamar Jackson never ran RPO in Louisville. He did run some RPO. He ran some pro-style offense. It was a balanced attack, and there are plenty of articles out there to show that what he did was balanced, and that the coach actually wrapped his offense around Lamar based on what his skill set was. If you go see a lot of those rushing touchdowns, it was from RPO. It was from read option. Look, it was a balanced attack. They had some where he was sitting in shotgun. They had some plays where he was sitting under the center. He can do a lot of things. But what we do here is what Greg Roman and the rest of the staff, the coaching staff, John Harbaugh, what they're all cooking up. So just trust in that, and that we're going to have a decent offense this year, and that we don't have to go out and get an all-world talent wide receiver, because you haven't given Rashad Bateman an opportunity to show you that he's the number one. And I've seen it from the Miami game to the Cleveland game, to the Minnesota game, to even the Chargers game. You saw this guy was just turning up first downs, making one-handed catches, 50-50 balls. He is that dude. He just needs more opportunities. Wide receiver is not a need. Anyway, Shanti says, our defense was embarrassing last year. Yes, it was absolutely embarrassing. This is why we got to build back up and get what we need on defense. All right, Delicious says, yes, but if you get another wide receiver, we got to get a big body guy. We had a big body guy. Did we use him? He's still here. He's still getting paid. He's about to get paid $2.54 million to do what? I mean, I like Miles. I do. And he's that big body. But he plays like he's 5'10". And I know if we go get another big body out there, are we going to use him? I just don't know. All right. Big Crochet fan, but he's not that guy. He's a deaf guy. Give him an opportunity. Let's see what happens. Actually, every time he's gotten an opportunity, Crochet is coming out and got above 70 yards. So he did it in the Denver game, and he did it in the Cincinnati game. Go look at the tapes on those. He is a guy who will put he'll put those defenders in uncomfortable positions, because he is a good route runner. He knows how to create separation, knows how to get open. He's not the fastest guy, but he does some things after the catch. I like James Crochet. I've said it many times before that he is a reason that Baltimore needs to just not go after another wide receiver in the first round. Let him produce in the slot. I promise you that doesn't matter what round. that he was drafted in, Prochet would come to play. Now, you are making some sense here. So we need more O-line and a tight end. Yes, I agree. Get the O-line. Get the center that you need. And honestly, bring somebody in to compete with Cleveland and compete with Powers and with Makari. I'd like to see the competition. That's only going to make them get better. Moving forward. D3 says, I think we should give Benjamin Victor a chance in the red zone. Our current wide receiver rotation needs to be utilized better. There's another option. There's another guy that's working with Lamar in the offseason. I think I've seen him out there at least once or twice, catching some deep balls. Benjamin Victor deserves an opportunity to get his shine on, especially if he's building chemistry with Lamar, which some other wide receivers are not right now. I mean, where is Wallace? Anybody seen Wallace? Ashanti says, we have Watson and Burrow in the division. We better get better on defense. Yes, you cannot punch. You cannot punch a puncher. You need to block a puncher. You need to be able to find ways to block people when they're punching at you. And Burrow and Watson are going to be throwing blows. They're going to be throwing full-on haymakers. If we're not sitting there ready to return with that block, then we're going to get knocked the heck over. So we need defense to stop these big old beasts from coming through and tearing us up, because we got to be playing against Amari Cooper and Watson. Now, honestly, Watson don't scare me. I know that the money does, the guaranteed, all that good stuff. Watson don't scare me. Watson is the same guy that he's always been, a guy who holds on the ball a little bit too long trying to make things happen, and we blew him up many a time when he was in Houston. When it comes to Burrow, he's just a smart decision maker, and I mean, sheesh, I'm a huge fan of Chase. It's going to be a major problem. I'm just hoping that our corners can handle business and lock this guy down. Let's see what else we got. D3 says we're playing with 4 stringers on defense. Not sure what people expect. Yeah. I mean, you got guys off the couch, you're gonna get loaded again, completely sliced up. So I like that brand of football. Yeah, the defense. Having defense is a great brand of football to have. If you ain't got no defense, y'all just having shootouts. Eventually, that's just not Baltimore style. To me, Drake London is overhyped. I'll take Burks and Pickens over him if we're just talking about a big wide receiver. I would like Pickens. I'm not necessarily a fan of Burks. I just don't think it's going to translate at this level. I think it could maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not a big fan. Especially when I saw the 40, the technique just lets me know that he wasn't even concerned about getting the coaching that he needed to handle business. I mean, you start and stop 3 different times, your butt's all in the air, and you're still running 4.540, so you got speed. It's just technique, which means you need to be coachable at this next level. And I don't know if that's going to happen with him. Let's see. So we okay at wide receiver, but we're not set. That's a fair statement. It's a fair statement because we still need to see what these guys are going to do this season going forward. Because, like I said, Bateman could come out and be the next Justin Jefferson. Could be. That's what I see. I see like ceiling Justin Jefferson. And I think that's a pretty daggone good ceiling right there. And then you got Hollywood, who has great chemistry with Lamar. And Lamar is very passionate about who he wants there as wide receiver. And he wants Hollywood to stay. Yeah, I'm talk about the drops. All you want, the dude only had 6 drops on the season. Some people are saying 6 or 7. There was only 6 drops on the season. And some of the best wide receivers in the league have 4 and 5 drops. So just keep that in mind. He's only 1 drop off from some of the most talented wide receivers in the league. And he got over 1,000 yards this year. Like, what wide receiver that we drafted has gotten over 1,000 yards? Well, the wide receiver in the first round that we drafted. It just doesn't happen. All right, so there's some homework I need to do. Ashanti is saying check out a tight end from Virginia. He's a 6'7" freak. So looking at Texas A&M, Colorado State, SMU, Wisconsin, UCLA, San Jose, Oregon. You said Virginia? Washington, Virginia Tech, James Mitchell. You sure? No, you said Virginia. Oh, you said Virginia. I'm looking at Virginia Tech. So I guess what? Give me a name. So you be happy with Pickens in the second. Oh, there's a compromise. Look at that, Big Reg, you're growing. Look at that compromise. Pickens in the second. Yes, I could see that. I wouldn't be mad at it. Gives him opportunity to really come in and compete and not be considered already the number one guy. And then we get to see what the Ravens can be capable of with a bigger body on the outside. But still, like I said, I want Bateman to get his reps. So Pickens does everything good. Not sure if he's great at anything specific, but very good at everything. Okay. Elliott Pickens in the second would be great. I think he would be gone by the 45th, possibly. But Ravens got five fourth-round picks, and I'm pretty sure that they can ball some of those up to slide up a couple slots. I ain't talking about slide up like 16 slots, but I am talking about slide up 5, 6 slots. You can ball up a fourth-round pick. Say, hey, you know what? Let me get that. It's a possibility, a real possibility. Iman Marshall is no good. The man can't even stay healthy. He did come in, I think, when Lamar Jackson came in, and we hadn't seen much out of him. I think this is one of those years where they're going to say, all right, look, man, get it together, or we're going to give you an injury settlement. I don't care if you say, you got an ingrown, toenail, whatever. You gone. You absolutely gone. We're going to say bye. So, yeah, I can agree with that, Reg. Ashanti says, yes, when you play the Jets and the Dolphins, you're going to have a high-ranking defense. So you're talking about the Patriots, or was it the Bills? Oh, so one of those two is going to have a high-ranking defense because the competition on offense for the Jets and the Dolphins last year was not that great. This year, they could probably have one of the fastest offenses out there. Like, you want a Madden team, this would be the ultimate Madden team to play with. You're starting a franchise league. The Dolphins are going to be absolutely sick. With Jalen Waddle sitting at a 95, I think he's a 95, 96 speed. And then you got Tyreek Hill sitting at 99. And then, it's just, the list goes on and on. Just speed all over that roster. Even running backs are like 95 speed. It's crazy. But that's just Madden. But I am saying, like, NFL-wise, yes, there'd be some terrible matchups to have to face if we don't have a decently fast slot corner in there to help take on that third wide receiver. Let's see. Chico Lee. Hey, appreciate you coming through. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and smack that bell so you know when it's going down. If you in here and you ain't hit the like yet, please, I'm begging. I need my likes. I need my subscribes. I got to have them. Anywho, so Chico says, David Bell is the wide receiver the Ravens need. Big trust. David Bell. Who is David Bell? You got to tell me that's another one I'm about to do some homework on. Because I'm excited about this draft. It's just a lot of players outside. Sometimes I get all caught up in that first round, right? Maybe second round. And then there's some sleepers that everybody they mention, like this guy, David Bell, out of Purdue, 205 pounds, 6'2", has a 4.52 40. Probably ran a little bit faster at the combine. Let's see. But I don't know. I just feel like when it comes to those tall guys, I'm looking for that small, twitchy guy now. Like, we got what we need as far as decently tall guys, because Rashad Bateman plays like he's about 6'4", even though he's like 6'1". But, if David Bell came into camp, I'd like to see him compete with Benjamin, Victor, and Rashad. Excuse me, not Rashad, but Miles. Be great. So, yeah, it's the guy from Wisconsin, Leo Chenal. Writing that down. Too much stuff here. Leo Chenal. Linebacker Linderbaum isn't a run blocker. I don't know. I saw tape that begged to differ, man. I saw Linderbaum actually blowing people up on the run. Chico Lee says, the highlights ain't it. Got to watch Iowa's tape. Tyler was not a factor. Okay. So Big Red says, I say we get Cross at 14. Okay. Gold lineman. That's smart. Trade Stanley in 2-4. Now, here's the thing about trading Stanley. There is dead money, and it is a significantly bad number, and we might as well keep him on the roster. I'm talking about $47 million is what his dead cap is that we're going to have to eat. Got an $18 million cap hit this year. So we be hurt. it would be like significantly hurting if we traded him before the 1 June deadline. Maybe it goes down a little bit next year, but I still saw just like huge numbers because we decided we wanted to roll money. Remember that credit card? They played the credit card game and they lost big time when it came to Stanley. I don't think they want to play that game again because they want to be able to pay Lamar and make some purchases still in the offseason next year. All right, Delicious says, I'm starting to be okay with Makari and TCC battling out for center. Both are solid, but I really like TCC at center. I would like to see TCC more at center and kick Makari out to the left side, or just give me a left guard. Let him compete with Cleveland. I did see some good things out of Cleveland today. I was watching some tape, and he looked good against the Lions. Against the Rams, not so much, but I mean the competition was beast over there. Zyler had a bad game against the Lions, but I just felt like Cleveland, he'll develop, and he'll look pretty solid. But putting Makari somewhere over on this line is going to help this team a lot. I'm just glad he's here just in case somebody does get injured because he is a jack of all trades. Sean T says, yes, the wide receiver core is good. We have obvious needs. I'm going to do a little skipping down because there's a lot of comments here. So let's see. Skipping down to Chico said, I'd rather go with a third-round rookie wide receiver than DK. So I guess somebody was talking about trading for DK. No, thank you. You know how Baltimore likes to draft picks. They will not give up them daggone draft picks. They don't care if it is DK sitting out there. So as the Ravens' hard-nosed defense gone. Not if you pick up Davis. This reminds me, people was talking about they were getting mad because of the comp. Somebody put a comp out there of Haley Nada, and they put one up Davis, and they're saying that it may not be the same guy, but Davis is one of those talents you put on your team, and he's going to be a game wrecker, and it'll like our linebackers will succeed because of what Davis does in the trenches. One of those names that you don't hear much about, but you're going to hear Queen succeed. You're going to hear, hopefully, Christian Harris. Queen and Christian Harris, they get to eat because of the things that Davis will bring to the table. That's just me. That is my thinking right there. I think the defensive tackle is not a glorified position, but it is one that is desperately needed for Baltimore to continue to be that hard-nosed defense. You build at all three levels, and this will be the first piece of that building is making sure that line is taken care of. All right, so Calais was trash. Broderick played better all year. So I think Broderick has some off-the-field issues, and I think he learned a hard lesson and came in and focused on football. So I like Broderick Washington. Calais did get beat up a couple of times. He showed up in the Colts game towards the end with the special teams play, but yes, you could see there were times when he was just getting mauled on the offensive line. Maybe it's just time to move on from the old guy. Broderick was definitely underrated. He played well. Yeah, sometimes when you stick to football, you stay out of the media, you stay out of that, you do what you need to do, your game is going to show up a lot better. Jelani Woods, I believe there was some tape study done. I want to say Sip to Tally did some, and I think All 22 did some tape study on Jelani Woods. I will definitely go take a look at that as well. Tight end from Virginia, James Mitchell is someone who could be a Nick Boyle replacement. Yes, we have to have a balance when it comes to the tight ends. You need that blocking tight end. You also need your pass catching tight end, but you need those blocking tight ends. And if Boyle can stay healthy, cool, keep Boyle around. But if Boyle can't, you can go younger and cheaper. Then yes, let's go ahead and see what James Mitchell is all about. I was hoping last year that we picked up Tommy Tremble, and he ended up going to the Carolina Panthers, and I think they're going to see the benefits this year off of what he can do because he's one of those guys who actually said, hey, I love to block. Yeah, Woods is the 6'7" tight end. Yeah, it'd be sweet. And moving down a little bit further, D says, when you get the chance, see Trey Turner's highlights from wide receiver from Virginia Tech. He's a big play guy who would thrive as a third or fourth option in the passing game. Keep flipping. All right, Trey Turner. And that is a wide receiver out of VT. All right, Ellie says, going to be gone by the 14th Reg. He's the top 3 tackle, and most of the teams picking in the top 13 needs a tackle. Well, the thing about this draft is they're going to be top 10 tier type players that are going to slide to around 12, 13, and 14 pick because somebody's going to reach. Somebody's going to reach. I don't know who's going to be, but I have a feeling that 2 quarterbacks will be reached for because of the significant need around the league. And if those 2 quarterbacks get reached for, guess what? 2 players are going to slide out into that 11th and 12th slot. And I don't know if Baltimore's going to be bold enough to slide up into those slots or if somebody's going to try and bounce in and grab those guys. But you got to look at it like something out of that top 10 is going to slide out of that top 10 that we're looking at right now. So, but good point, Ellie. I appreciate you. Chico saying Ravens couldn't run at all on the right last year. That's on the right tackle and right guard. We need Ben Cleveland as the right guard and maybe draft the left guard. So the left guard that we have right now, or the right guard we have right now is Pro Bowl. That was Zeitler. So as far as right tackle, yeah, it was a tough situation because you were expecting Makari to step up and do some big things. But there's other options that are going to be there to compete at right tackle this year. And you got to think about it. We had trash running backs. We were dealing with guys off the street. We were dealing with Le'Veon Bell, who completely lost his wheels. He was not the same Le'Veon Bell that we remember in Pittsburgh. Plus, he runs a different style, and it takes a totally different offensive line to learn how Le'Veon Bell runs. They didn't have the time or the patience to deal with that type of crap. Murray was not that dude unless it was in the red zone. You know, he was a thumper that people didn't want to tackle in the red zone, but when it came to long distance running, this dude was not it. The last game of the season, he showed up, and they didn't figure out Freeman was a weapon until about 3 or 4 games too late. So, I mean, the running game was terrible. So I think once we get the offensive line together, it's going to be straight. Let's see what Big Red says. I want us to get Kenyon Green. He's going in the 2nd or late 1st. Dang, I love y'all spewing out these names because that just keeps me up all night. I'll be in the bed kind of looking at my phone, watching all this, just excited because I just love football. You know, it's just something that growing up, that's all brought our family together. During Thanksgiving, we knew that was what we was doing. I absolutely love watching football. So thank you all. Ashanti says, Davis or Sauce? I'll throw a party if we get one of those guys. Yes, if Sauce drops, yes. I hate to say that. I sound like eating gravy right there, but I would be pumped up if Sauce is there. And I know I'd be heartbroken behind the whole Davis thing, but I definitely would choose Sauce over Davis. And then I try to go get some other linemen after that, immediately after, because I knew Davis would be gone. All right, I agree, but I think it's going to be one of the edges or cornerbacks, not a tackle. I don't think we're drafting a tackle in the first round. That's just me. Anything interior defensive line, interior offensive line is what I'm thinking for the first round. If not corner, like I said, if McDuffie is there, there's a decision to be made. A conversation is at least had, and there's probably a lot of people pulling hair and fighting in the back. In the war room, because that's why they call it the war room. You're probably beating, banging the table. I want McDuffie. And somebody in the back is probably, listening to Reg and getting a couple of 20s on the side where, hey, we should probably get Wilson, y'all. Wilson's still there. And so they're probably fighting it out. But I honestly think that it's going to be an interior type of position that's getting drafted there. Unless Stanley's not really along on his improvement by the time the draft comes. Says Shanti says, old, slow running backs with no explosion. That's all we had. That is all we had. They were terrible, terrible running backs. We had one running back. It just Harbaugh had him in his doghouse saying he didn't do all the other things. Like if you have an explosive running back who's great at running, who's great at catching screens, who can do these things, but he's bad at a couple other things like blocking, special teams, things like that. Do you bench him when your entire offense is suffering because you don't have a running game? That's a bad decision. And I know that I'm really behind Harbaugh. I love Harbaugh. But that was a bad decision to shut this guy in the doghouse when you know that, hey, you got an explosive running back sitting on the bench and you got 3 other guys who just can't get it done. So that was terrible. That was absolutely bad. So hopefully, y'all shout out to Tyson Williams. Hopefully he can get out of Harbaugh's basement and actually be that third wheel that we need for that rushing attack. Because with Gus Edwards back and with Dobbins back, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Justice Hill, but I would like to see a competition between him and Tyson Williams go down to the wire to make the team just that much better. Hopefully they elevate each other's game. It's a D. Delicious says, "Will you be watching USF?" Nah. Probably not. I don't know. I'll see. So Shanti says, "I love football. Also got mint condition cards from the early '90s. Yes, let's go. Yeah, you definitely I'd like to bring you on the show sometime. You'd be like, we take a little breakout and you just show us the collection, show us some of the cool things that you got. That'd be something interesting to see there." Let's see. Big Red says he was struggling with the playbook too, but I do like Tyson. And that's the thing. When you a rook, you're going to struggle with the playbook. Lamar struggled with the playbook. There were a couple of times when he had to go back to the huddle or go back to Harv's and be like, "Hey, what was that play?" Or go back to Urban and be like, "All right, what was the call again?" You a rook. You was expected to struggle. You can't just go get put in the doghouse immediately just because cerebrally you're not all there, but physically you got all the talents in the world. Let this man ball. Let him live. All right. So she said, "Yeah, will do." Definitely. So I think we went over the things that I wanted to bring up was the options in the draft as far as actually no, I think we didn't get into the linebackers as far as options in the draft. I think y'all mentioned a few of them, but I wanted to bring up just a couple, and then maybe y'all have some homework for me. We'll talk about them. So the prototypical guys, you got your Jack Sanborn out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin has always come out with these thumping linebackers who just crave like stopping the run all the time. You have Chance Campbell. I love anything out of SEC. So that's just me because they just breed defense out this world. Micah McFadden out of Indiana, 6'1", 225. Not too fast on the 40 time, but he's a smart, instinctive player that Baltimore could totally use there in middle linebacker position. Could come cheap at the back end there. Let's see. Big Red says, "I agree, but we all know that's just who Harbs is." As far as putting people in the doghouse, yes, Harb just has his thing. Like I said, he came in the door putting people in the doghouse when it came to Chris McAllister. And McAllister was our best corner at the time. And it was such a pride battle between them. He put McAllister on the sideline, and eventually McAllister was out of the league because of what Harbaugh basically did to him here. So, and he was on the back end of his shelf life, but still. Let's see. You said Troy Anderson out of Montana State. Okay, that would be one I'll do some homework on there. And Big Red's agreeing with Chico about grabbing a center with the second or third pick. Okay, like I said, if they go defensive line in the first round with Davis, I definitely expect them to go center with the second pick. Either that or honestly a wide receiver. Pickens is still sitting there on the clock, and I know center is going to be hurting or whatever. But right now, from what we're hearing from DeCosta or what we're hearing from Harvs, it looks like Makari can have an opportunity to start a center. I think they're going to open it up and make it a big old competition. But I think that they are giving Makari a heads up, like, hey, we're paying you this money. You've had reps here. Sure, they're 50-50 on those reps, but we're going to give you that opportunity to start a center. So I think that's decent, and I know it's not the answer that I want because I still want Tyler Lindenbaum. I'm like, dude, this dude could be the next Marshall Yanda at center. He's got Yanda as a mentor, and I would be crazy excited to see that happen. But if it doesn't, then yeah, I guess I'm looking to see what Makari does as center. He broke our heart many a time. So just saying. Ashanti, I appreciate you. You just subscribed. Let's go. Yeah, so everyone in this room comes to the room with a great deal of football knowledge. Big Reg, thanks so much. KTSC, all you guys, like CF, all y'all bringing a great deal of knowledge, and it's just like a big old collection of knowledge that we have here. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Ashanti, you as well. There's so many people in this room that come in and bring big nuggets. Chico, Ellie, Abdi, Delicious, just so many folks that bring in a lot to the collection plate. Bravens, I didn't even know you were here. I appreciate you coming through. Let me go back to your comment here. So you said you wouldn't mind Victor getting a shot, especially if Boykins is gone. With his size, he could possibly play tight end hybrid if he can block. I don't know. I think Victor's a little light. He's a little skinny, man. He walking there like me right now. I could use a meal or two. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wife feeds me well, but I ain't trying to start. I ain't trying to try for football or nothing. But I feel like, yeah, Victor's a little light. But Victor Boykin would probably battle it as the wide receiver blocking tight end role. So if he comes in, I wouldn't mind seeing Boykin. If they're gonna keep him, transition the guy over. Transition him over. They use him for blocking anyway. Make him that blocking tight end who eventually catches some things off a mesh. If they're sitting in bunch and he's one of the tight ends that comes dragging across, he can make some things happen for those short passes. Because we know he's not aggressive on the deep balls. So pause. We know he's not aggressive when it comes to going after that deep catch. Anyway, so back down here. Oh, Ashanti's. So Delicious says, Ashanti, one of the best podcasts out here. You definitely going to get a lot of knowledge listening to Couch Fighter. So, yeah, so it's not just me, folks. So Cam Rue brings a great deal of knowledge to the table. Sometimes I'm like, how does he do it? Because, between martial arts, between acting, between singing, so he's a rapper, he's an actor, he's a martial artist, he runs a dojo, he does commercials. He is hilarious. I love this guy. He's like a brother to me. But yeah, he also brings the Ravens knowledge, and he's very knowledgeable. He's got the historical knowledge and the going forward draft knowledge. So I cannot wait for you to meet him. He'll be on the show Monday. Is probably when his next time will be on the show, and we look forward to bringing anybody on the show. But I love doing the show with Cameron. We got a good chemistry, good dynamic there. So Victor might be one of the dogs that Miles just don't have. Might have more dog in it. Okay. And he needs to be more aggressive. Yes, Miles definitely needs to be more aggressive. You go back and watch the Washington football game, he just does not have it when it comes to the aggressiveness. So you're looking for somebody to be that dude. Anywho, I'm going to take a couple more comments and I'm going to roll out, man, because it's time for me to go binge watch some shows. Chico says, we like Troy, but I like him with his hand in the dirt at outside linebacker. If we don't score on Thibodeau, we have to address pass rush at some point. So I wouldn't mind having Kayron Thibodeau out there. He's a pretty solid pass rusher. Let's see. Couch and Cam, be bringing that fire. I appreciate you, my man. Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, Borkin is disconnected from the team. No connection with Lamar, and it seems like he's on Hard's bad side. I don't know about the Hard's bad side, but sometimes when it what you do in camp, if it's not translating to regular season, then yeah, you're right. He might be on that bad side. So Chico, we need to address the pass rush. I'm not 100% confident in this group. I agree. Pass rush is something that needs to be addressed. I don't know if it's going to be addressed early, though, because what Eric DeCosta said was this is a good draft for edge. So that means that there may be something that could be pulled off in the third round because we got 2 third-round picks and a lot of fourth-rounders. And I'm thinking those fourth-rounders might get balled up, snowballed up into a third-round pick because they don't want to bring in 10 players into the camp again straight off in the draft. And we hadn't even touched the undrafted free agents. I'll see if you got skipped. Hold up, man. Let me go back up, lad. I got you. All right. So I think the Ravens are going to get whoever is best on the board, not really seeking position unless it falls to him. So previous drafts, during the Ozzie Newsome era, so prior to these wide receivers that just got drafted, it was always pull off everything you can pull off in free agency to fill holes. They were not dynamic, explosive players whatsoever, but they filled holes enough to say, hey, I trust this guy on day one that we could go play a game right now. If we had a spring game to play, that Baltimore would be in good position to play a spring game. And then they would go into the draft and draft the best player available. And it was great. It worked for a while. But honestly, I think right now, Eric DeCosta might be like, hey, we're not getting what we need in free agency. He doesn't trust the other stuff that's sitting out there currently, even though there's a few good, decent additions. Like I said, I've already pointed out a few at linebacker. There's a lot of middle linebackers out there that could be had to, as long as they're healthy. Like Quan Alexander, if he's healthy, could be one of the most explosive linebackers out there. He just had a ton of injuries, and hopefully he's over those with the pectoral, the hamstring, the ACL, Achilles. Everything that could possibly happen to this guy has already happened. So hopefully it's strengthened, and he could come back and be strong for some other team. But if, Baltimore would just take a flyer and say, hey, here's a veteran minimum. Why don't you come into camp? We'll give you a tryout. You make it through healthy. We'll see what happens. The next thing you know, he blows it up. That'd be cool. Let's see. So I got you. So I did. I know you said I skipped you, but I'm here, man. I'm here for you. I think I got your question. I think he was talking about, I think I might have skipped you twice. So you said Troy Anderson at Montana State. So, okay, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. There's more homework for me. More homework for me. I love it. All right. So we said Troy Anderson at Montana State. All right. So the time, we are at an hour and a half without Cam Rue. Usually we roll about 2 hours long. So, but we have a good time. And I've had a wonderful time tonight. I appreciate y'all coming through. I'm glad we got to talk about the different options. Look, I know y'all heard about Wagner. I know it's heartbreaking because y'all was expecting to sign this 32-year-old man and who still has some shelf life left. But there are other options out there. They're going to be younger. They're going to be more explosive. Sure, they don't have the awareness that Wagner's going to have, but there are going to be some spring chickens out there either in the draft or in free agency that we can pick up and be great with. Y'all trust in the system, trust the process, and trust that I bring original sports perspective from our couch to yours. Thanks for tuning in. This is your Couch Rider Raven signing out saying, hey, man, I love y'all, appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.
Introducing the Couch Rider Raven Report. Let's go. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, hey, Ravens. We gon' ride out. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Couch Rider. Ravens, Ravens, hey, Ravens. We gon' ride out.
For some of you Twitter gangsters, this is just a hobby, original sports perspective. You can't stop me. Couch Rider Report, it's reflective. Please respect it. You will get checked, and your knowledge will be tested. I ain't the coldest Raven, but this is my show. Shout out to the Barry White rap for the beat, though.